to this episode of Driving with Sage, and today we're going to talk about psychic abilities and being an energy healer, spiritual coach. So there was a time on my journey where I would be doing sessions with people, and there would just be the most random things that would be coming through, and I wouldn't want to say the thing because I was worried about being wrong or it not being relevant or me sounding silly. And time again, what would happen is that person's higher self is giving you that information for a reason, and sometimes it's not for you to understand. Like sometimes that person is going to have a synchronicity later on in their journey, and they're going to remember what you said even if it doesn't make sense in that moment. And there were so many times where I would not say something, and then the other person that I was in the session with would say it, and their higher self would be like, you should have said it. Because it's also really good confirmation for yourself. Like even earlier, I was giving an Akashic record reading, and I asked the person, I was like, do you like lasagna? Do you really love it? And they were like, yeah. And I said, okay, well, your higher self is showing me that, and they're pulling back the layers, like you on your self-awareness journey, digging through like all the things that you've been working through. And he was like, yeah, that's actually my favorite dish. And that's why I learned to always say the thing, because sometimes those are trust connectors. If that person, not saying that the people don't believe in what you're doing, okay, but external confirmation is always great, especially when we're talking about like psychic things, spiritual things, because it is very esoteric and intangible. And so sometimes those things that other person's higher self is getting you to tell them is so they're like, wow, how did you know that? Wow, okay, let's go. Like the connection is here. So I wanted to share that in case you're starting out on your journey and you've been kind of getting in your head about it. Say the thing, because you never know how it's going to come back around. And I will say, for one example, when I first started reading records, I was in a session with somebody, and we were talking about this woman with a clock, but it was on her hand. And I was like, I don't know what that's about. And she was like, I don't either. And then she messaged me a year later and was like, you will not believe what happened, and went in on this story about that synchronicity. And she said, I knew that I needed to hear that from you, even if I didn't understand. And then it came full circle a year later. So say the thing, you never know.